Is that a little microphone you have there?
Oh, it is. Yeah, can you see it? Oh, I think we're live.
Oh.
Hey, everybody. It's Brienne here with Kind. Thank you for joining us tonight with the Be Kind to Yourself show. I'm here tonight with Dominique, our IBCLC, and we're going to talk about how breastfeeding works. So as you know, this month is World Breastfeeding Month, and this week specifically has been World Breastfeeding Week. And so we have brought you everything as far as giveaways and education and inspiration for your breastfeeding journey. So tonight, kind of the first thing we'll talk about is obviously always our giveaway. So we offer all of our moms a free starter pack. And so with this breastfeeding starter pack, it's going to give you everything you need to get started with our system. So you will get your adapters for your pump. So for instance, in here will come 2 adapters for the Spectra and for the Medela or narrow neck. And you will take these adapters and attach them onto your flange. And then you get 1 pouch. And so with this pouch, you will adapt it onto your flange and pump directly into it. And when it's time to store it, you'll just screw on the cap and store it right in the fridge or freezer, depending on how long it'll be till you feed your baby. And from there, in here will come our bottle holder. So you'll snap it right in, just a quick snap. There you go. And then you'll also get a nipple. And so this nipple will be a slow flow, breastfeeding friendly nipple, and you'll be able to feed right from the same pouch. So this kit will give you everything you need to be able to pump, store, and feed from the pouch. And then once you're done, you can put that pouch in the recycling. Okay, I lost it here. In here will also be 2 coupons. These are kind of my favorite part. So this coupon is going to give you 40 free pouches. And then this coupon is going to give you our entire set. So all of your adapters, your storage rack, your warmer, and your bottles with nipples as well. And so all of this, as well as our foodie starter kit, is going to be half off. And so we are giving this away tonight. All we do is ask you to pay $6 shipping. Other than that, the entire starter pack is free. So there's a link below. Kristen will post that for us here. And go ahead and click that link. And once it's clicked, you can go ahead and let me pull up. You can go ahead and redeem your breastfeeding starter pack. So check that out. It's a great way for you guys to try our system and really understand kind of the significance of it, because you don't have to wash bottles anymore, which is the great part. And then when you're pumping, it's so much easier to store. So really great option there. Let me pull up your comment so I can see. Oops, turn this down, sorry. Okay, so any questions? Let's see who's here. Johanna. Oh, Brianna, I love your name. Tiffany, hello. Danielle, so awesome. Love the coupons. Yes, they're my favorite part because the gift set is $99.99, but with that coupon in here, it only makes it $50. So great baby registry gift, great Christmas gift. I know we're a couple months out, obviously, from Christmas still, but awesome gift. So great milk storage bag option. It gives you the freedom to pump and store in the same pouch, no transferring of milk, no washing of bottles, no leaking. Really great system. So check that out below. We're also kind of we have 20% off any order. And so that will be, that link will be posted below as well at kind.com. And so for World Breastfeeding Week, we'll be offering that. And then all month, follow us on Facebook and Instagram because we have giveaways the entire month. We're actually doing a giveaway a day. So we're really excited to provide to you all these amazing products and companies and offer amazing giveaways throughout the entire month of World Breastfeeding Month. So tonight, like I said, we're going to talk about how breastfeeding works. But before we do that, like I said, it's World Breastfeeding Week. And so I'd love for you, anybody that wants to share their story, I'd love to feature some of your stories. So tell us how many days, how many hours, months, years, even if it was 1 second that you nursed or pumped any form of breastfeeding, it is something. So we want to hear about it. We want to, if you have any funny stories you want to share that we can feature, we really just want to hear about your journey. So throughout our live, go ahead and post that and we'll jump on, let us know how Kind helped your journey. And Dominique and I will kind of just get started talking about some breastfeeding topics. And from there, if you guys have questions, that's what the next hour will be. We'll just really kind of be answering. We're not really going to talk a lot of product. We're just going to be answering any questions you might have on nursing, pumping, really the science behind breastfeeding. So, Dominique, how are you?
Hi.
Let me put you in my other ear so I can hear you better.
Okay. I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
Good. It's, we're 5 days into World Breastfeeding Week month,
That's right.
and we're still surviving. So,
That's right. That's
yes.
right.
We are also, before we actually start, I almost forgot our giveaway tonight. So obviously we always do a giveaway, and tonight we're actually partnering with Ardo. And so Ardo is an amazing breast pump. They offer, they're Swiss made, insurance covered. It is a piston pump, so it's almost as strong as most of the other pumps, but it's also more gentle. It has 64 settings with 8 vacuum and 8 cycles. And there's a wall adapter, so you can use it both electric or car. It's only less than £1. It's just a really great option, compatible with a lot of other options in the market. So we're going to be giving away that Ardo Calypso to-go breast pump tonight.
I had a chance to play with this pump at an ILCA conference one year and at USLCA. And I think, just like messing with it with the demo, I feel like it's pretty strong. And it, as compared to maybe like say the Amita pump, which is also a piston. Well, they're not the Maya, the other one. It's a piston pump, and I feel like it's pretty strong. This is like one of the newer pumps on the market, but I do feel like it's it seems comfortable. I don't have personal experience, but it seems like a good overall pump, and they do come with like all the same things, like the massager, things like that you can insert. And I believe it's compatible with like Pump and Pals as well if you're one that's on the in-between size. So I think it's a good overall pump.
Yeah, so it is compatible with Pump and Pals, and it's been across the U.S. for quite some time. It's newer to the U.S., and I got to touch it this past week actually and get my hands on it, and I just thought it's a really great carry bag, as you see on the picture on the screen. It has a pump, it has flanges, it has bottles with a cooler and ice packs. I mean, it really just everything you need to like grab that bag and go, which I thought was super cool. And one thing I actually thought was cool, if anybody pumps, a lot of time where you have an electric pump and you travel or you're away from home. And when I worked at a pump company, I used to get so many moms that would call and be like, I'm out of town. My pump died. What do I do? And we're like, well, here's hand expression,
That's right.
Can your baby nurse at all? Whatever. But a lot of moms would be stuck. So I always told mom, from the moment you get pregnant, if you're going to be a pumping mom, get a manual pump.
That's right.
Get a hand pump. Yes. Well, in this Calypso to go, it comes with a hand pump option that you can attach. So I thought that was really awesome of just really thinking about like, what does a pumping mom need? And it's like, not that you want your pump to die or, you're saying that your pump's going to die, but it's an electronic device.
It's a good
It can die at any moment. Yeah.
But
I mean, it can be the best pump in the market.
Power outages.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been to a hotel where I swear they didn't pay the light bill because none of the dang sockets work. Like, it's just, it was really weird. Or anything can happen.
The electric bill.
That's right.
Power outage in Florida.
I used to work like an hour from my home, so I always would keep like a hand pump anyway in my car because if I got stuck in traffic like longer than what I needed to, like I don't know about you guys, but I get very angry when my breasts are full and hurting and there's no baby around.
Yes,
so that made it very easy to just kind of pump a little like in the car to get myself comfortable, until I can get home to the baby. So having a hand pump option is awesome because anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the Ardo Calypso to go is a really great option. Again, it's insurance covered, but tonight we're going to be giving one away here. So super excited for that. Yvonne just finished a pump session. Anyways, so we know what that's like.
That's right.
What do we have to do for the giveaway? So for the giveaway, we're going to pick one. So comment below. Tell us about your story. Tell us how long you've been pumping.
What'd you do
I
for
got stuck in
World
traffic
the
once and
big
had
latch on?
yes, you attended a big latch on. So post something below and they'll pick a winner. Oh my gosh, guys, though, Caitlin, I had to sidetrack here. I got stuck in traffic once and had to milk myself into a cup from our local zoo. That is hilarious.
Oh.
The way she said it, I had to milk myself and that it was a cup from the zoo.
Oh.
Mama, you are amazing. A human milk bank right there. Human milk cup. Wow. That's probably the amazing comment. I love that one. Anyway, so share your funnies, share your sads, share your sappy. We want to hear it all. Yeah, and we'll kind of just talk about kind of the basics of breastfeeding. What do you think where we should start, Dominique?
I guess we can start with how it starts, but we had a question that Tiffany asked, how do we get it covered, the Calypso, through insurance? So your insurance dictates what pump they will cover. So you should call them and see what they offer as far as pumps. Sometimes they'll give you several different DMEs, and then you'll need to go to the DMEs and they will tell you what they have. So if your insurance says they work with XYZ DMEs, you'll call each DME and see which pumps that they currently have, and then that'll be what your insurance will cover. I've seen at least our state insurance covers the Ardo pump, and I've seen the regular insurances cover as well. Some are more restricting, but you'll just have to call and see what they provide. But it sounds like Ardo did what they had to do in order for insurance companies to know the pump exists. So you'll just have to call your insurance company and see what kind of pumps they cover.
Yeah, and when you call them, just ask, what durable medical equipment companies, DMEs, that they work through for breast pumps. And if you get a list, Edge Park, McKesson, Byram, you get a list, let's say of 5, instead of calling all 5, the other thing you can also do is call the pump company, like Ardo, and ask them, hey, my insurance works with all of these. Which one of these do you sell to, or carry? Which one carries Ardo?
That's a good idea.
So you can kind of, reverse it too. A lot of times the pump companies will know at least what DMEs they work with, and you kind of compare that list from the insurance. And if your insurance, let's say, gives you 5, and none of those 5 carry Ardo, you can also try other DMEs, call Ardo and ask which DMEs do they work through, because sometimes your insurance just doesn't want to give you 10 because they want to get off the phone with you, so they only give you 5, but they do work with others. So anyway, if Ardo's the pump you really want, or whatever pump you really want, don't always take no as a first answer. Kind of dig a little bit, because you might realize that another DME does work with your insurance and carries the pump brand that you want.
Yeah. And I've also found too, some insurances are like, these are what we cover, but if you want something else, you just have to pay like $50 or something like that. So that may also be an option.
Not a small upgrade.
Yeah, not what, it's not fully covered, but some do have that option too, where you can get whatever pump on the market that you want. You just have to pay XYZ fee, and then they'll cover the rest.
Yep. Awesome. So again, any other questions about the pump or getting a pump through insurance, definitely post below. And we're going to kind of get started on talking about how breastfeeding works and how kind of it comes in. So Dominique, I'll let you start on that.
All right. So first of all, when your milk first comes in, it's hormone driven. So you got to get those hormones activated in order to get the process started. So when the baby first comes out, rather C-section or vaginal delivery, you really want that skin-to-skin contact. I always tell parents, the baby goop that is on your baby is there for a reason, because it gives off different odors and smells, and those smells trigger the hormone response to get the breast milk initiation flowing. So, don't tell them to wash the baby before you touch it, all that stuff. Just do skin to skin immediately, get everything started. The baby nursing at the breast sends signals to the brain to release that milk to the baby. the baby, massaging with their little hands, sometimes just being on you, being near you gets those things started. So that's always step one. If you can, do skin to skin with that baby. Don't cover it up. Take the hat off the head. Just put the baby right on you. To get things started, and then work on your latching and positioning to get the baby transferring well, because also too, an empty breast makes more milk. So if your baby's nursing well, then that sends a signal to your body to make even more milk. So to get started, you might need your baby. The
Yes,
easier
that's
way
hormones for
anyway,
sure.
and
Yes.
to get
Yep.
those hormones going. And then you need to work on getting that latch really well, so baby can empty you as well as possible, to send that signal to make even more milk. And also, I would like to say that when you have your baby, you do have milk, and it is called colostrum, and you make that while you're pregnant. Working in the hospital, I hear all the time, my breasts aren't engorged, they're not leaking, I don't feel anything. It's
Yep.
like, that's later.
Yes. Yes. If ever, some moms don't even, may not get
Right.
engorged, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like all that swollen breast, all that stuff is later. So, your body starts making that milk for your baby in the third trimester, and it just starts making until you have your baby. And then your baby starts to initiate the second phase, where the full milk or the white milk that you're used to seeing comes in. So you do have milk. It's colostrum. It's full of all kinds of wonderful, great stuff. And it's really sweet and sticky, like honey, and perfect for your baby. And that is the milk the baby will drink for the next three or so days, until that full milk or that white milk comes in. And then that'll be the milk that you'll make for the rest of the time that you are breastfeeding.
Yeah, and to kind of touch on some questions here, one question that got asked was, what happens if I'm leaking beforehand? So leaking before your baby's born is fine. It will not use up your colostrum.
That's right.
You don't want to necessarily pump it out, but if it's leaking, that is normal, and it will not affect if you have one drop. If you have 20 drops or if you have 0 drops, that does not indicate how your supply will be once your baby's born.
That's right.
So definitely, as far as that's concerned, you don't worry about, what your neighbor had or what your aunt had or what you have. Just kind of let it flow as it flows, and don't necessarily request any more of it. If some moms ask, like, can I catch it? If you have enough milk, colostrum falling out in the beginning, feel free to catch it in something, but again, just don't want to pump. And then another question I got asked is, so how long should we delay the baby's first bath?
Oh, well, let's see. It depends on your hospital and you. So where I work, we delay for 8. The recommendation is to delay for 24 hours. But if you're me, I didn't bathe my kids at all until they were like 3 or 4 days old.
Yes. We
We
did 1
just
week, so I got you.
that's good. We did not bathe them at all in the hospital. I waited until I got home, and we did like a family kind of bathing situation.
Yeah.
Like we all weren't in the tub together, but like it was like a family affair. Like we were all around the sink. We're all talking to the baby. Or with the bath. It wasn't
Yep.
like then they did it in the nursery, and then the baby comes back clean. Like we did that as a family. So I think it's pretty much up to you, how you feel about it. If you want your baby to have a bath in the hospital, then it's just, some hospitals have other policies. Some bathe right away, like 2 hours after birth. But the recommendation is 24 hours. But of course, my hospital delays for 8. But not bathing them is not harmful. The stuff that is on them, the vernix, is not harmful. If your baby pooped on themselves on the way out, obviously wipe that down. Nobody wants to sit and poop all day long. But the other stuff you can just
Yeah,
kind of rub
exactly.
in. Babies are swaddled. You can put clothes over it. Doesn't make the baby stink or anything. So I think bathing is just personal preference. But we didn't do it at all. I didn't see it necessary.
Yeah.
My babies didn't have
Yeah,
a ton
exactly.
of
I
poop
mean,
on them.
Yep. We just, had a little, and I rubbed it in them. I rubbed it on
Yeah.
me. And then, obviously I wiped his bottom when he went to the bathroom. But
Yeah.
other than that, we ended up waiting till the umbilical cord had come off.
Oh, that's smart.
But yeah, I mean, they're not dirty. So I was like,
Yeah.
there's no need. And
And
plus
then
they love that new smell.
that's what I was
I
gonna say. Then you
ate it
get
up
rid
for,
of that new baby smell. I love that smell. I don't like it when you
yep.
get baths in a hospital because I'm like, oh, you smell like product.
Yeah. So like you said, personal preference. So anyway, so yeah, so that's kind of, hospital. We'll answer Melissa's question real quick while it's up on the screen. I want to try breastfeeding, but I've always heard that you have to eat certain food. Is this true? This is a good one. No.
So I will say
I do.
this. You want to eat healthy for yourself, not
Yes.
because you're breastfeeding. Can you live off of McDonald's and Burger King? Absolutely yes. Will it hurt your breast milk? No. Is it healthy for you though? Absolutely not. And breastfeeding will probably deplete you a lot because McDonald's and Burger King it's not very good nutritional wise. So you do want to eat well, but it's not because of the breast milk. If you don't, it's not going to make your milk horrible. What it does is your
exactly.
body's going to steal
And
from
while we're
you
on
to
that,
make
so
it good.
oh,
I'm
sorry,
sorry,
I
go ahead.
lost you.
No,
No, go
you're
ahead.
fine.
No, I lost you, so go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say your body will just take from you to make the breast milk good, which leaves you depleted. So you eating healthy just takes care of yourself. And you don't have to have like the best diet in the world, but just good choices. And you can snack out, here and there. I mean, I love zebra cakes, and I'm going to eat a zebra cake whether I'm breastfeeding or not.
Yeah.
But you can eat. It doesn't matter.
Yep. And like you said, the baby's going to get the nutrients it needs first. It's just, do you want to feel like a slug all day, or do you want to have a little bit of energy? It's kind of up to you.
Same thing like in pregnancy.
Now, yep, exactly. So now while we're talking on that, I would love to kind of talk about the composition of breast milk. And kind of flow into then fore milk and hind milk, but kind of just talking about the composition of breast milk as far as fat and protein, and people asking what they can eat to increase supply and or fat content. So if we want to maybe go and jump into that now.
Yeah. So
love to hear.
Let's see. Fat content. It is what it is. Whatever your body feels fat-wise you need, that is what your body will make. You eating a bunch of fatty foods only hurts you. It will not change the fat composition of your breast milk. However, if you eat more omega-3s, that is the type of fat that you will make for your baby, which is a very good type of fat because that's what baby brain likes anyway. So you can change the type of fat that is available in your breast milk. But as far as the amount of fat, you got to talk to your body about that. That whatever your body feels is necessary is what your body will make for your baby. And as far as overall what it's made of, composition, it has everything in it that your baby needs, including vitamin D and iron, which pediatricians love to say is not in your breast milk. But it is definitely there. It's just not in large quantities because we as humans are made to get those things from other sources, i.e. the sun and other animals that we eat. So if your doctor tells you, or the baby's doctor tells you to supplement them with with iron or vitamin D, and they say, oh, because breast milk doesn't have that, that is not true. It's there. We're just indoor creatures. And we just don't get exposed to sunlight a lot of times. And with iron, we're just not eating the type of meats that we should be eating a lot of the time. Some of us are even completely vegan. So that those things can affect some things as well with the iron availability. So we're just made to get those things from other sources, not specifically from mom. And your baby takes a whole crap ton of iron from you anyway before they come out. That's why the doctor is always checking it, because they store 4 to 6 months worth of iron before they come out, because they know they need to start eating iron-rich sources at that time when they start getting solids, because that's when they need to rely on the foods that they eat. So so if there's any questions about that, no worry, your breast milk is perfect. It's just with a plan, right? And then I guess, do you want to creep into fore milk, hind milk?
Yeah. So, just again, mom, so remembering, it's, so much water, so much fat, so much protein, and there's nothing you can do or eat or smell or nothing that you can do to change that composition.
Right.
So I hope if there's at least one mom here tonight that we can debunk that myth, because I see moms at the grocery, at, mom groups, like dying over this,
Yes.
There's a meme or meme, however you say that word, a meme, right? Out
That's
there
what I say, meme.
Meme. Okay. A meme out there that said, like, has a clown coming out of a drain, and it's like, come down here, I can help increase your supply and give you more fatty milk or whatever. And a mom climbs down there. Yes.
Yeah,
And it's so true. Like, moms literally feel like they need to change their composition of it, and that there is a way to do it. So debunking that tonight, no way to do that. Your milk is perfect for your baby. So then what we get asked, right, the next question is like, okay, that's great, but maybe they're not getting the fatty part, or they're getting too liquidy and all of that. So fore milk and hind milk.
This is my least favorite conversation, by the way.
I know, me too. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine, because it needs to be addressed. But
yes,
I don't know who did this, brought it to the forefront, but it's annoying. But so your milk is your milk. There's no like two types of milk. It's not like flowing for 5 minutes and then it's this kind of milk, and then that valve shuts off and then another one opens up, right? So your milk, that fatty milk, is all mixed in together inside of your breast. And in fact, if you pump and you let it sit out, you will see the fat rise to the top, just like if you were to look at raw cow milk. I hate to compare us to cows, but if you get raw cow milk, the fat floats to the top and everything settles at the bottom. That'll still happen with your breast milk. The issue comes in is that, so when we have a letdown, the letdown is more watery than, I guess, watery in quotation, than, say, the milk that is being prepared for the baby, because it needs to flow fast to get your baby's attention. It's there to quench thirst, right? Because they nurse for thirst and for hunger. And it's there to just help the baby overall just stay active at the breast, so that they will, when it slows down, they'll stay in tune to get the milk that is sitting in the breast, that tends to be a little bit more fattier. But it's all the same milk. It's all mixed together in your breast when the baby gets it. There's no need to block feed or do anything like that. Your baby gets it all. The only time that there's truly an issue, truly an issue, if mom has like a massive letdown, because then at that point, yes, the baby is getting more letdown milk than the milk that is sitting, waiting for the baby, because it comes out so fast. The baby gets a large amount so fast. Or the baby just gets overwhelmed and then just gives up. So that can be a problem. But a lot of times, if you just give it time, the baby will work it out. Your body will work it out, and it will be okay.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks for touching on that topic.
No problem.
What about stages of breast milk?
What do you mean? Like like when it's coming in?
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2 stages. There's there's lactogenesis 1 and then lactogenesis 2. And all that means is just the beginning of milk, first stage, beginning of milk, second stage. First stage is the colostrum, which you have while you're pregnant, when you first have your baby. And then lactogenesis 2 is when your full milk starts to come in. So that's when some moms get that engorgement feeling, or So at that point, some moms start to feel their letdowns if they weren't able to feel them before. And that's that milk that you're used to seeing being pumped. It's not very thick and yellow and sticky like honey, like the colostrum.
Correct. And then in between those stages, it kind of transitions from
Right.
colostrum to more mature milk. So you might see it a mixture of the two, or starting to become more full, but have a yellow tinge still. And
Yep.
so again, just that transitional milk. Now, what happens if a mom doesn't transition? We get a lot of moms that'll say, "Oh, my milk never came in."
Right.
So want to touch on that.
Unfortunately, just like some women are unable to get pregnant, there are women that are unable to lactate. There are so many reasons why that can happen, unfortunately. Some of it is just genetics. Somewhere down the line, there's a gene that's being passed on where it just doesn't happen. There's a phenomenon called, I guess it's not a phenomenon, it's a condition, called insufficient glandular tissue. And that's just where the breast tissue is either underdeveloped or just do not develop at all. And sometimes, or either maybe one breast develops and the other one does not. And so you do need that mammary tissue in order for milk to happen, as well as your hormones. And so if you have insufficient glandular tissue, then that will cause a shortage in milk. So a lot of times, since breast milk is hormone driven in the beginning, these women, their milk will come in, they'll feel it, but they won't get that engorgement, that overwhelming feeling. And then after about 2 or 3 weeks, they'll have that feeling like, oh, my milk dried up or it disappeared, because they don't have the mammary tissue to support that ongoing supply, demand, lactation. Sometimes women have breast surgeries. Rather, the reductions are worse than if you are getting augmented. Yeah, getting implants.
Augmented.
But they both are risky, right? So if you get a reduction, I just cannot talk tonight. If you're getting a reduction, they go in and they're cutting ducts. They are taking out mammary tissue. So that greatly can affect whether you're able to produce or not. And I've had some moms go from like double K's to like a full D, and they breastfeed just fine. But I've had others who they just can't get it done. And then of course, when you get augmented, they are putting stuff in there,
In there,
like I
yeah.
know in the US we practice intramuscular, which means we go behind the breast tissue, behind that
Yes.
muscle, which is better, but they don't practice that everywhere. I had a mom who had hers done like 5 years ago in Spain, and they went into the tissue. And so I told her, and they also took off her nipple, which is one thing we don't do here. So all of that can
Yes.
affect whether you're able to produce breast milk or not. So breast surgeries can often too make or break whether you're going to have full milk supply. Some moms are on certain medications that they need these medications to live, and these medications inhibit breast milk production. So that's an issue too. So there's several reasons out there in the world. Sometimes some moms are just exposed to like chemicals early on, and don't even know
Retained
it.
placenta.
Yep. Oh, and retained placenta. So if the
Retained
placenta
placenta.
doesn't come out all the way, or the doctor doesn't get it out all the way during the C-section, that can definitely delay the process. However, retained placenta can be fixed.
Can be fixed.
Yeah, that can be
Yeah, for
fixed. But
sure.
the
Some
other
of them,
conditions
yeah,
cannot be fixed. That's just, it is
not
what
be
it is.
fixed. Yeah.
So I think we have a question. Sarah
Yes.
Holmes Garrett says, how can you find out if you don't have that tissue? Well, if you have IGT where your breast tissue just didn't develop, I mean, you would know, because you can see other women and see how, your breasts compare. It looks completely different. But if you are unaware, like if you think, yours are normal, there's definitely a lot of pictures online where you can kind of see and just list through the descriptions of what it may look like, what may happen during puberty, things like that. If your breast never grew during puberty, that's always like a telltale sign that something's happening there. But a lot of times these moms don't find out until they're trying to breastfeed. Unfortunately. But one thing you can do, and I've done this in the past, is you can find a lactation consultant and do like a pre-birth consult or a maternity consult where the lactation consultant, if you're comfortable, will actually like look at your breast and can tell you, you know what, I think you may have this condition, but she will ultimately say, let's find out what happens when the baby comes and your milk comes in, to see for sure. But she can also let you know if she feels like, you know, you're going to have an issue as well. Hopefully I answered that question.
Perfect. Yeah. So someone asked about nipples, and it got answered by our team, but I just wanted to kind of bring it to light. You know, your nipples do not affect like the size of your nipples, the shape of your nipples, heck, the size and shape of your breast as well do not affect supply. Does the size of your nipples affect breastfeeding? So it doesn't affect being able to breastfeed, and it also does not affect size. I've had moms that are triple A and triple D, you know, on either side of the spectrum, have issues, not have issues. So small nipples, large nipples, none of that. The anatomy itself, per se, affects supply or being able to breastfeed.
The only time nipples cause an issue is if, say, you have large nipples and your baby has an itty bitty mouth, or if you have a super large baby and you've got small nipples. But even then, certain positions, we've got tools that we can use to kind of help your baby out, so that your breastfeeding isn't inhibited completely. So I wouldn't worry too much about your nipples until, you know, the baby shows up.
Correct. And then, you know, some of the other questions that we've been having quite a bit come up here. So is how much should I nurse and pump? And supply. So if we kind of maybe, what does normal production look like? So we want to touch on frequency and then amount.
Okay. So your baby should nurse on average 8 to 12 times in 24 hours. Keep in mind that is a minimal. And anecdotally, I had one that nursed as long as I was giving it to her. So she could eat for 30 minutes. And if I walked away for 15 and came back and said, do you want to nurse? She was all over it. And coincidentally, she was 20 pounds at 4 months old because of it. So, you know, and I had one that's right. And I had one that came every 2 hours, and I had one that I had to constantly ask because he just was happy to be a part of the family. He didn't really care about eating. He was like, oh, you know,
it's so funny. I had one, you know, my oldest was the same way of yours, in that, you know, if I offered it, would nurse 24/7, nurse till he was quite old. And then my baby was very like, oh, that's right, I have to do that thing called nursing. Like, and I'd be like, yes, mommy needs you to nurse, you know? That's so it's so funny. Like,
he's like, I'd rather just sit here and look at you. I don't really want to eat. And I'm like, feed.
Yes,
but
over with.
That's right. But typically, to maintain a good milk supply, minimally your baby needs to eat 8 to 12 times a day. I had one lactation consultant tell me, well, you know, if you count both boobs, and it's like 16 to 24 times a day. But you know, I usually say 2 boobs is 1 feeding. So. But yes, so you typically want your baby to eat minimally 8 to 12 times in 24 hours. Most newborns, so fresh babies, will eat more than that because they're trying to figure out, they don't understand hunger cues. They've never been hungry before. They're trying, you know, they're trying to listen to their body and their glucose levels and all that stuff to figure it out. So they may nurse more frequently. And plus, babies nurse for comfort. So they may nurse just because they want to be near you because they don't know what else to do. And that is totally totally normal.
And they also might be nursing for a growth spurt, right?
That's
So when,
right. That's right.
they're having a growth spurt, they're going to nurse more frequently, and it's going to help communicate to your body the changes that is needed in the breast milk, or if they're sick or if you're sick, just adjusting the antibodies. So, again, obviously it's all about reading your baby, but like Dominique said, really making sure there's minimum of 8 to 10 times, in a 24-hour period is happening, because again, it's back to the supply and demand. So if we're not, proteins in our breast milk, and if we're not releasing those proteins, it doesn't signal to the brain we need more.
Right.
And then we're in this vicious cycle of not increasing, or not keeping up maintaining that milk supply.
Right. It looks like Trisha says, do you switch breasts after each feeding? Yes. I always tell my moms when I work with them, give 2 boobs every feeding and then switch which one you start with. So if you start with right to left, the next feed should be left to right. And this helps with attempting to keep the breast producing evenly, even though they probably won't, but it does help. So it helps with sidedness with you and overall milk production, and keeping the fat content, all that stuff even on both sides. Also, too, neurologically and with the baby's eyes, switching sides helps them with that too. And a lot of people don't. And with their motor
Their neck,
skills,
yes.
yep, and then their neck, switching sides positions helps with all of that because they're utilizing all of those muscles. When they nurse on you, if you're constantly giving them one side, they're constantly using only half of their muscles. They're keeping their eyes only in one position. So switching does help them with that as well. So switching side is good for you and your boobs and your supply, but also helps your baby neurologically as well.
Exactly. Is it okay to go more than 3 hours between nursing? Should I pump then to relieve my breasts?
I think that just depends on how old your baby is and where you're at in your lactation career. If I was following you and your baby was less than 2 weeks, I'd say absolutely not. You wake that baby up because
Yep.
your supply is too new and that baby is too young. But if this baby's like 6 months old and sleeping through the night, oh, honey, if you don't want to wake that baby, don't wake that baby.
Exactly.
And if you're uncomfortable, then I say yes, pump, because I don't want you to be uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So I think that just depends. So if you've got a new baby, I'd say wake that baby to support your supply. But if your baby is older and sleeping through the night or taking a 4-hour stretch nap, like some do, which is totally normal, then you can choose to pump at that time, or just wait for your baby to wake up. Your body will adjust if that is the normal for your baby.
For sure. Megan asked, when is the best time to start pumping for storing? My baby's due at the end of the month. Well, congratulations, Megan.
That's right. Congrats. And don't start pumping now.
Yes. No, not at all.
So I guess just this depends on your life circumstances. So I do a lot of advocating for women that have to go back to work, and I work with a lot of women that are financially indigent and medically indigent, and so their circumstances may not be the same as a mom that stays at home. So typically, if you have a crappy maternity leave that's 6 weeks or none at all, because some don't have it at all and they have to go back right away, I usually tell the moms, if they can, try to direct breastfeed for the first 2 weeks, get through the engorgement period, let your baby dictate to your body how much milk you're going to need. And then after that, I usually suggest pumping like once or twice a day on through words to the end of your maternity leave, for storage. Once or twice a day, you'll have more than enough. If you have a longer maternity leave or if you stay at home, I generally leave it up to the mom to do whatever they want to do. But I always try to get them to at least direct breastfeed for that first 2 weeks without without any pumping or anything if you can get away from it. Obviously, if your baby is in the NICU or you have some long-term separation, you need to pump right away every 3 hours until you are going to be with that baby. And if you have a longer maternity leave, like 12 weeks or 16 weeks, you can choose to wait a little bit longer before you start pumping and storing milk. But I would say just please, I know I see it a lot of time on the internet where it's like, oh, don't do anything for the first month. And I'm like, well, that's not fair if you have to go back to work in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, right.
So so I would just say if you have the longer maternity leave, don't wait until 2 weeks before it's time for you to go back to work to try to pump and store it. You're going to stress yourself out. You're going to stress your baby out. You don't have to do it right away after the first 2 weeks. You can wait, but I wouldn't wait until you only have 2 weeks left.
Exactly.
That's going to be too stressful.
Sure. So real quick, I just want to say we have 15 minutes. We're going to try to get to a lot of these, but there has been so many questions and it makes my heart so happy because these lives are my absolute favorite to do, especially when we're really just talking about like just breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And again, breastfeeding makes up nursing and pumping. So either one. But when we're not focused on, a lot of times in today's society, we have many products.
Yes.
And products are great, right? We have products that make things easier, that makes things less painful. But at the end of the day, when we just like go back to the science of breastfeeding and at least understanding how it works, we really can cut most all of that out.
Yes.
At least in our brains, knowing that we don't need that. If we want to use it, fine. Go for it, but at least like empowering us women to know that like we don't need that. I want to get to Shannon because she's a first-time mom. We all remember, most of us remember that moment of first-time mom.
Yeah.
And she has a question, and I had this question too. And I actually work with a lot of women. Thank you for posting this. That have gone through possibly even some abuse at some point, or own personal preference. And they asked this question, and I want to tell you first, Shannon, you are not crazy. Her question is, this is maybe a crazy question. So I'm going to rephrase that. This may be a good question.
That's right.
I'm planning to breastfeed, and I'm only interested in pumping and feeding with a bottle. I'm not interested in getting her used to latching to my breasts. Is this something that some people do, or am I, and I won't say that word, or am I normal, whatever. So I don't know what normal is, but is this something that people do?
That's a relative term.
Yeah. Exactly. So yes, this is something that people do. It's called pumping, and it's a form of breastfeeding, and that is okay, whether it is personal preference or whether it is a reason behind it. You don't need to tell me. You don't need to tell the neighbor. No one needs to know. You breastfeed your baby, and this is the form you do it in. So Shannon, I want to encourage you to not latch that baby if that is your choice. Get your pump set up, get everything set up that you need, get your bottles lined up. Hopefully you're using the Kind system to make things a little easier, and you rock it, mama.
That's right.
And we have Dominique, our IBCLC here. You reach out to her during this whole journey, whatever you might need, whatever questions you have, because you do breastfeed. So
that's right. And I still have to deal with your breasts because they are still lactating, and that is my job, lactating breasts.
And there's still something sucking on them. Yes.
That's right. Rather babies attached or not, it doesn't matter. As long as milk's coming out, that's my job. I will say, though, to make sure that the pump that you get is a good pump.
Yes, exactly. So, oh, wait, what did you say?
No. I was just saying, make sure that she gets a good pump.
Yes, a good pump for sure.
Hospital grade, and learn hand expression for the hospital so that you can get maximum output of colostrum. Because sometimes the pump doesn't always get it out on its own. It needs a little extra help. But other than that, pump on, mama.
Exactly. Let's see. Let's try to get to a couple more questions. Does having an epidural or meds during labor affect baby's latch? Could it make them too drowsy? I had an epidural with my first, but I want to go natural with this baby.
I think it just depends on the baby. I've had some come out after epidural and they latch just fine, and I've had some come out and they're just sleepy heads. I know there's science behind it that says that epidural can delay some processes, but just working on the maternity care unit, I mean 50-50, I've seen it. So
yeah. Same here.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a C-section and my son came out bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Exactly, right?
Like
Yep.
nothing ever happened. And, my first was super sleepy and really not into doing anything except for living at that point. So, and again, my second, she was eating as soon as she came out and she ate a lot. So I just think it depends on the baby and how anything, because, meds affect all of us different and babies are
Exactly.
no different. So some babies take it like a champ. Some babies need a little extra time, but either way you choose, if you don't use epidural, if you have an epidural, I'm not here to criticize you for that, but just remember, if your baby is sleepy and doesn't want to latch right away, don't blame yourself. If you have to use that epidural, a lot of skin to skin, baby will eventually perk up. The medicine does not stay in there forever.
Ever. Exactly. While we were also talking about supply, so, a lot of times moms want to know, one, like how much is a normal amount, and then how much is a normal amount, as well as, sorry, how much is the normal amount? What was the question? And I lost my train of thought. How much is normal? Oh, and then how to know the baby's getting enough, right? So, kind of wanting to hit on, if you want to touch on like diapers and
Yeah.
output, as well as, kind of the rule. Of course, you have the beginning 2 weeks, but then after then, like 1 to 1.5 ounces per hour. Breast milk doesn't change composition.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, real rough and dirty, if you come into my office outpatient, a 1-week-old baby should be taking somewhere between 30-45 mLs, depending on their weight. A 2-week-old baby should take anywhere between 2.5. A 3-week-old baby, 3.5. 4-week-old baby, 4. Well, actually, 4 weeks can be anywhere between 3 and 5,
Mm-hmm.
technically. And exclusively breastfed babies at the breast will tend to max out at that 3 to 5 range. They don't continue to take in more like their formula fed counterparts because our milk changes to their needs, so they don't need to expand their belly past that point. But because the bottle flows differently, they may take larger amounts from the bottle if they're not pace fed. So in the beginning, we count diapers. That's how we know. Of course, the hospital will take account to certain things like glucose levels, jaundice levels, things like that. But you as a mom, because you don't have these tests readily at your fingertip and you really should not have them,
Yep.
you count diapers. The first day of life, they make one pee, one poop, and that poop is meconium. It's tar looking. It smells like amniotic fluid. It's sticky.
It's black and
That's
sticky.
black. Yes.
Black.
So they should make one of those and then a pee diaper. And the pee diaper really can just be enough to change the indicator on their strip. It doesn't have to be sopping wet. The second day, 2 pees, 2 poops. The third day, 3 pees, 3 poops, and so on and so forth. That 3 to 5 day Ranger baby, the poop should change from that meconium to green to yellow. Sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of runny, sometimes it's kind of seedy, and everything in between, but that is fine. So the poop should start to change color somewhere between that 3 to 5 day mark, coinciding when that transitional milk comes in and then your full milk comes in. And that transitional milk is what we talked about earlier, where it's like a large amount, but it's still kind of yellow and thick. That's that colostrum moving out and that full milk moving in. So you count your diapers in the beginning. You also, when you're nursing your baby, I go back to when I say, don't swaddle your baby. Don't put those little hand gels or mittens on their hands.
That was
you
the
know,
only thing they had to touch.
that's right. Don't put that hat on them. Because
Yeah,
if your
no hat.
baby's all swaddled and covered up, you can't read their body language because the baby
Mm-hmm.
is not going to talk to you. And if they do, you call the news and you make money. but but
That would
to
be pretty if our
yeah,
children started talking at birth. That
yeah.
would be
Telling
interesting.
mom how to parent makes So you're going to read your baby's body language. So when babies are hungry, they tend to keep their hands near their face, kind of like this. Sometimes they poke themselves in the eye and then they yell at you. They eat their hands and they kind of their tongue a lot. They keep their bodies like tight. Full babies, their hands are relaxed, usually by their side. Sometimes they're alert looking around. Sometimes they fall asleep, but they are overall relaxed. Mm-hmm. So look at your baby's body language. If your baby is relaxed, then and making diapers, and your baby is getting enough to eat. Another thing you can check is the baby's weight. In the hospital, you want to check their weight loss. All babies, no matter how you feed them, will lose weight in the hospital. The hospital knows this, and their job is to track to make sure your baby does not lose weight too quickly. So on average, what I see in the maternity center is vaginal deliveries go home anywhere between 3 and 5% loss, sometimes 6%. That's an average. C-sections sometimes go home between 6 and 8%. But then at like that 5-day mark, that 4 or 5-day mark, that baby should start to plateau and then start to gain. And then from that point, you will check the gaining. And then the baby should gain about a half an ounce to an ounce a day up until they're about 4 or 5 months old. And then they'll slow down. So if you can't quantify the milk that you're giving to your baby, there are several ways you can tell if your baby is getting enough. And another thing I like to point out to moms is, in most cases, hungry babies are not quiet, right? If you have a hungry baby that's quiet, it's because it's too far gone. But in the beginning, when you guys are learning breastfeeding, hungry babies are not quiet. They will cry. They will suck on everything. They won't sleep. They won't settle. They will let you know that they're not getting enough. And then at that point, you hook those boobs up to a breast pump, and then you call your lactation consultant so that they can do an evaluation to figure out why your baby's behaving in this way.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, guys, we are 4 minutes out from our close. And so this has, we could talk all day about these questions.
I know.
And we have so many more questions that we didn't get to. So our Kind team, is all a team of lactation providers, and we'll stay up all through the night to answer all these questions for you. And then we're always available. So Dominique and our team of lactation providers can answer your questions at LC for lactation consultant at kind.com. So whether you have a specific story or a situation that you're going through, or if you just want general breastfeeding education on a certain topic, Dominique, that's what she's here for, and that's what our team is here for. Any of our customer support teams that you reach out to at support@kind.com, they're also all a team of lactation providers. And so again, we are here to answer your questions. It can be, what pump do I get, to, do I have enough milk? So any questions that you might have, especially this month, please take advantage of our team here. And then from there, if you do need a full evaluation, Dominique can help you find a lactation provider, IBCLC or CLC in your area that can really help you get the support and help that you need. And we have multiple groups here at Kind on Facebook. We have Kind Community, which is a great group, KIINDE, and then community with a K. And that is for our moms and, our families here that are actually using Kind personally. And then we have a new group, Kind Companions with a K as well. And that group is for partners that, have questions on washing the bottles or using the system or easier way to work with the system. So that's a great, or even questions on breastfeeding, or my wife is hormonal or my partner is hormonal. Is this normal?
Yeah.
Probably is, but Kind Companions will be a great group for you. And then we have also Team Kind, which is our affiliate program group. So we have some amazing groups on Facebook that we want you to feel supported and loved from our Kind family. We're all here to help make this journey a little bit easier. So thank you for all the love and support tonight. We have our Ardo winner. Is Shannon Caldwell.
Yay!
So I think she was the one that asked the question. Yay!
Yes.
On is pumping. Okay, yeah. So Shannon Caldwell, you are our winner of our Ardo pump. So congratulations, especially the first time mom. We're so excited. You can see it right here, the Ardo Calypso to go. You will have everything you need: your hand pump, your double electric pump, your bag, your cooler, your ice packs, nipple brush, little
Yeah.
cleaner thing. So everything is in this pack, ready to go. And I want to thank everyone. Trisha. So she said, this is my first live stream I've attended. I'm so glad I joined. It was helpful and informative. My boyfriend even began to listen at the end and began asking questions that I can answer now. So we love to hear our partners joining in and really involved in this. Your success rate at breastfeeding is so much higher when you have a support team. That can look like a partner, a family member, a friend. And if you have no one, because I saw a couple of people on here tonight that say, I have no support in this. Please join Kind Community. Please email us at lc@kind.com. Email us once a week. Ask your questions.
That's right.
Get a support. You're doing great. And again, join the Kind Community as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with The Boob, which is our talk show with all of our team. And we'll be kind of talking the same stuff. So listen again to all of our questions and answers. And we'll join you back here in 2 weeks to answer even more. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Dominique.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.